Hi everyone, it's Nicolas Dorier, and today we'll present you the new features of 2.1.2. Nothing too big, but I'm sure some of you will appreciate. First, in the point of sale settings, we added a new field that is the default tax rate. So you can set up a tax for your point of sale, and you can as well put it at the item level here. For now, it's a US tax system, so basically all your items are considered tax exclusive, and on top of this, the tax rate will be added. Later, we want to do the European style as well, that is tax included, but for this reason, it's not the case. And what you will see is, so for example, if I want to order a tea of $1, what will happen is that you will have 10% added to it, and your user will be charged 1.10. So this is pretty neat. Let's see how it looks like. Here you can see it directly as well inside the checkout page, and you will be able to see it as well inside the receipt. Here it's appearing properly, and as well in the print page that you can print in your with your point of sale device. We also support this change to the keypad. So for the keypad, here how it looks, we change a bit the display of the keypad. So for the keypad now, this one is the current number that you're entering, and this is what will be charged. So because the default tax rate is 10%, here it will be charged this amount when you create the invoice. Second feature I want to show you, it's a change in the RBF behavior. So the problem I wanted to solve is if you're sweeping your wallet, for example, to send your Bitcoin to an exchange, that you should never do. But imagine that you do and your transaction gets stuck inside the mempool. Before this release, it was not possible to bump the fees. So I changed that. So now, for example, imagine that you send to your exchange all of your wallets. You send the transaction. So now imagine that this transaction for some reason is completely stuck. Now you will be able to use RBF on that. Sign the transaction, and it will be bumped. As you can see now, it has been replaced with this one that is RBF that replaced the previous one. Second feature is inside the webhook, we added two new webhooks on your invoice. That is InvoiceExpiredPaidPartial and expired paid late. So basically, very often like merchant need to be notified for that because maybe they need to contact the customer about what's going on with the payments. Other feature that we roll out, it's called the fallback rate source. So one problem is that when you are using a rate source, for example, right now I'm using Kraken. If Kraken go down, then it becomes impossible to create a Bitcoin invoice, and it can lead to downtime for the store of the merchant. So to prevent this problem, now we support the fallback rate. So you can activate it here and like pick another exchange, whichever, for example, BTCPay, for example. So if you choose that and Kraken is not available, then the rate source of BTCPay will be used. The user might see that it's a bit slower to generate an invoice, but at least there will be less downtime for the merchant. And when Kraken go back up again, it will be reused again automatically. Then we added a new exchange for the check Corona. If you use the check Corona, then the recommended exchange will be Coinmate. We also integrated that in this release. Last feature is about quality of life improvements for ambassador. So typically an ambassador is onboarding merchant in a certain area, and ideally they want to pre-configure the new stores created by their users. So if you are an administrator of your instance, so you can decide to create a model store. I will call that, for example, model store 1. And let's take as an example, you would want to set up the currency to be GPY by default, and the expiration 5 minutes by default. And then, I don't know, whatever else you can do. For example, change something in the checkout appearance by default. So you set your model store as you want. Then you go to server settings. And in server settings, you can find default store template here. And you just have to select your store that you just configured, your model store, and click on create template from selected store. And from now on, every time somebody will create a new store, it will be automatically set up at the right currency and with the right setting that you have set up for your model. Last but not the least, we added support for Phoenixd. And it's also available inside our Docker. So if you want to replace your LND or core Lightning by Phoenixd, then you can try it as well.